Hey, this is me, and we're going live. Check it out. I am back, and I've got a weird background going on. I think it's causing a delay, though, so check this out. Okay, this is definitely messing with me. So, quick, check out the Midland Comic Con background behind me, and I'm going to get rid of it. All right, cool enough. I was trying to do a cool screen thing, but it's definitely causing too much problem with my um, video. It's making it skip and pause and missing stuff. So, I don't really want to do that. Although I'm not going to be hopefully on screen much anyway, because I'm going to start doing some live drawing pretty soon. It is noon on March 1st. Holy cow, it's March already. What happened to the first 2 months of 2022? I don't know. Check my mic. I hope you guys can hear me. Check my comments if you're making any comments. I dropped this one sort of unexpectedly, so even though I sometimes announce when I'm going to do these, sometimes they just pop up. And then hopefully, if you don't catch it live, you catch it on the replay. Um, I've been busy as hell, so I'm super excited to tell you a little bit about the Midland Mall Comic Con, which is what's been taking up some of my time lately. Go with that, Midland Mall. Yeah. Oh, I love the transparency. Brought to you by Fett's Toy Depot, run by Paul King in beautiful Saginaw, Michigan. Great guy. They ran the Midland Mall Comic Con a couple of years ago, and it was a cool thing, a huge success. It was really nice um, to bring something cool to Mid Michigan. However, um, I was bummed out because I didn't hear about it until the last day of it, so I wasn't able to participate. But a friend of mine, Jody, brought me the business card to Paul's, because she wanted me to connect with him for the next one. And then COVID hit. Bam, COVID happens, and nobody gets a freaking Comic Con. So that's kind of a bummer. My daughter's coat in the shot. Cool. Clearly, it's not cold enough for her to wear a winter coat. And even if it was, she probably wouldn't wear a winter coat because she's 13, and 13-year-olds don't need coats, right? So Midland Mall Comic Con, great show. This is promising to be a huge event. We are taking over the entire mall, and so I have been doing some artwork for the show, some for Paul, and some just promotional stuff for the convention. Not to take any credit away from Paul. Paul is running this whole mad thing by himself. All I do is make funny pictures. So we're going to have all of these kinds of pictures available for sale. I have prints made that I'll be selling at the show. 8.5 by 11 for $5, and 11 by 17 posters for 10. Just $10 for a high quality, high resolution Midland Mall Comic Con poster. Some fan art and some original art. You know me, I'm a big Hulk guy. I do love the Hulk. I've come up with some new Star Wars stuff inspired by Mandalorian and Boba Fett, Book of Boba Fett show. I have a steampunk dragon that I drew some time ago. There's I'm just literally going through graphics and narrating now like it's the Truman Show. You know who got me into this though, and I'll tell you why. I shout my man out, Ted Davies. Want to say hi if you're listening, Ted, and if you're not, I'm still gonna say hi. Go find Ted Davies. Look at and listen to one of the many live stream shows or podcasts that he is into. If not for Ted, I wouldn't be doing this. First of all, Ted had me on his show a little over a year ago, and really got me excited about bringing my artwork and myself, promoting my stuff on YouTube to kind of another level where I wasn't reaching um, enough people just sitting in my room drawing nerdy pictures. Ted has a bunch of shows. I can't even just look him up because he's crazy. He does watches and cigars and mixes drinks, and he's got. I just realized the graphic I put up has my name misspelled. Holy cow! I've been using this whole time. Ted misspelled my name on that graphic. I think this was for the second one. There are so many misspellings of my name. I literally got a check in the mail today with my name misspelled, and like sometimes I wish I was just Ken Smith, But that's okay. It's cool to be what it be. So, on top of all the things I'm doing, I'm almost done with Sky Princess, and I'm working on um, the lettering for Global Defense Force and a couple of other jobs that are up and coming. And we're planning a new book sequel to Run with my man Vince Churchill, and a lot of cool stuff that I'm lining up for the rest of the year and then next year, so that we can knock them down like dominoes. I'm trying to get all my ducks in a row so that I can just hopefully stay put and keep producing art. Promoting yourself is a full-time job, which is why people like to have somebody else do it. I mean, I wish I had an agent and a representative and a media consultant and somebody else to do most of the legwork on this stuff. But since I don't, and I'm running it myself, this is what I do. Gives me less time for actually just sitting and making art, though, which is where my passion lies. Like a lot of artists, I'm kind of an introvert, and so if I had my way, I would stay locked in a room at a table and just be making pictures and then sharing them with the world, and hopefully collecting a couple dollars on the way. So let's put up a thing. I'm going to do some drawing, and I have no idea what I'm going to draw. Someone had suggested last time that I do a Spider-Gwen. Problem with that is I'm not ready for that right now. Since I've only drawn her literally one time in my life, I don't think I could capture her costume accurately in a quick sketch, and I'm going to do my best again to try and keep this around a half-an-hour video. So in the interest of that, we're going to make sure that I don't go too far over time and bore you to death with my circular rambling and my silly drawings. And I'm going to draw something that I know how to draw, and then maybe talk about it a little bit while I rant and rave. Searching for my little box of pencils. Trying to pick the best things. I think I'm going to do kind of a toned sketch today. See, if I had a producer that could add music here, maybe I can even. I'm working on a couple of different video editing programs that are allowing me to speed up the videos. So I'm going to start drawing them offline and then speed them up so that you can see, the whole thing in QuickTime, and then get the full experience instead of having to see half of it drawn or sketched and then sadly just tune in later and see the finished piece. I kind of like those, but again, I'm just one dude, and this isn't my forte. I'm not the guy that went into journalism or went into broadcasting or making videos and stuff. I have other more intelligent people for that. All right, done enough of me looking down into my box of art. Now let's see if I can switch this over. Boom, 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 boom. There I am. All right, let's mute. Sorry. Okay, sorry. It took a second to switch the screens over so that I could do this and just show the one. I don't really want to look at the top of my head. Do you? While we're doing this. Okay, so back to Ken's comics. What I usually draw is like a Hulk or a Spider-Man or a Batman or even a Golgoth. I think today we're going to do a Bishop. How about Bishop? Go a little bit closer. Checking in. I see a comment. I'm not going to respond. Haha. That's just me. Okay. Trying to enjoy drawing at a weird angle. Bishop, if you don't know, is one of the X-Men, and he is my favorite X-Man from mid '90s era, really. Although he's been through a ton of iterations. The cool thing about comics, though, I mean, every character has a bunch of uh, stories to draw from, unless they're brand new. Um, Bishop came about as a man out of time from the future, and then so he was from the future uh, where the X-Men had been all but destroyed, and he was part of a like hardcore Gestapo type mutant hunting force called the XSE. Unbeknownst to him, he was really on the wrong side of things, though. With that, he was just hardcore, tough as nails. Comes from the absolute toughest neighborhoods possible. Grew up, lost whole family and stuff like that. So Bishop was a fan of the X-Men, though. So to him, the X-Men were in his history, way, way back into like um, before he was born, basically. I'm not going to give you all the spoilers of the story. It was something I followed a long time ago. I mean, I didn't remember them all right anyway. So feel free to jump in if I screw up any details about the XSE or about Bishop or the last X-Man. So Bishop comes back in time to try and uh, it's hunting a rogue mutant time traveler stuff. Ends up becoming part of history, as it turns out, and that's because that's the cool timey wimey spacey racy stuff that goes on. Bishop's got a very square jaw, but I also want to give him like kind of round cheekbones and round figures. Bishop got his own miniseries for a time, and it was an amazing one of my favorite 4-part miniseries, limited series ever. And that includes anything I've ever read in the Hulk, the X-Men Bishop miniseries from like the early to mid '90s. It was just spectacular. His sister from the future, her name was Shard. His Bishop, her name was Shard, and she was even more badass than him, tougher than him, if that's possible. She was also dead. So what happened though? Her consciousness memories were transferred into a hologram. So um, she was like kept in a device that he could carry around, and it sort of kept her with him. It wasn't really her, but it was pretty much her. And until somehow it turns out it really was her. Um, but it was his only connection to not only the future that he grew up in, and um, but his sister. About the only thing that Bishop cared about up to the point when he came back in time. Bishop's powers, however, and this is why I like him so very much, he has the ability to absorb and redirect energy. Um, I would give Bishop a scowl. My man Bishop's like, gotta give him some energy. I feel in my head, even though it doesn't look like it, I feel a little bit like this in my mind. Um, and whilst Portatio did the best Bishop, of course, ever since the very origin, kind of a short buzz cut up here and a curly mullet in the back. It was the '90s, and it was still so badass, kind of spiky hair up here. Now, I don't like that, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But when I do my Bishop, I give him the kind of long hair that he had in his miniseries, which every time I draw a character, I tend to draw them from my favorite era. So if I'm drawing the Hulk, I'm picturing the Hulk from an era that I love. So often I'll draw it to look like the Gray Hulk McFarlane, bulky and wrinkly, or the John Byrne of the mid '80s. Still with my own twist, but the elements I put in there are taken from what I think is the essence of that character. So when I draw Spider-Man, for example, I draw him with the classic type of eyes and webbing. I've talked about this on my Spider-Man videos. I draw him the way I think he ought to be drawn, and then I try to put a couple things in there to make it look or feel like it's a Ken uh, original. Something I loved growing up, and I still do to this day, is taking a book or a comic, or even see a poster or a T-shirt at the store, and picking out, trying to figure out who drew it by the details that they put in, because every artist has some very particular, even though other people copy the hell out of them. Like McFarlane drew the giant wide eyes on Spider-Man, and everybody started doing that. But still, the way that McFarlane did it, the shape, I could tell you from looking at it if it's a McFarlane or a knockoff. And I can't do it either. I can't do it exactly like McFarlane did it, and that's a good thing. But to me, that's part of the fun. It's like the Easter eggs of the style, um, is giving you like what particular details that artist bring to the table. These are iconic characters that have been done and done and redone, and yet, as artists, sorry, bump the table. We as artists, we try to make them our own. So anyway, when I do the bishop, my personal style of bishop, and some people tweak these details differently. I give him the long hair, but his hair never really looks. It's not like full of body or volume. It's still kind of slick and mullety to a point up to the neck, and then it's long. So he still has that essence of kind of short hair on top, even though it's long, and I make sure that it's long. It's kind of got to be for me long and flowing again, 'cause that's how it was in the miniseries that I think was the pinnacle of his greatness of his character storytelling. He did some other stuff later on where he actually joined the police force and became an actual cop, like just a real cop. Series was called District X, and it went for I don't know about a year or so. I think I had 12 issues of it, and it was good, but it wasn't. It was. I'm not. I loved it. I really did, and it was a mutant story, but it was more of a cop drama. Reminded me of how they made Dick Grayson more of a detective story. And it's good. I mean, it's a style choice, but it wasn't my perfect era anyway. Did my video freeze? Oh, maybe the video did freeze, and I'm getting some messages here. Okay. Sorry, had to stop and check. Messages are coming in, and I hate to ignore anybody. So, with the long hair, then it gets to be like if you had your hair not really kept but slicked back, you get some variance in here. It's not smooth, like it's not gelled down. So Bishop's hair is almost has a life of its own. Strand by strand can go kind of whichever way, and that's again to me that's what I loved about the look of that character. Bishop has kind of a tall collar, which I also love. I love these. I literally for my wedding picked a tuxedo that had no lapels and just a collar like this because I love that. Just it's like a Star Trek kind of collar or a biker jacket or just pretty badass. Now, after that though, he has at least the original Bishop had the neckerchief. No idea why. Not sure what usefulness it posed with such a badass guy at all, but if you're a fan of X-Men, you've probably seen the fun comparisons to the classic different strokes picture with Arnold in his conductor's cap. Um, but anyway, so tied around his neck like an old fashioned cowboy, I guess. I think maybe that's what it is. It's more like a old west kind of homage. I mean, it's more for the costume. So it comes to a point down here because it's just like he tied a scarf or a bandana around his neck, only it's huge and it's supposed to be flowy a little bit. So right down to here, you can see. I'm gonna go a little more on the shoulders. Want to leave some room though, because I'd like to get one more detail in here before I'm done. And we're at 20 minutes. All right, this is going pretty well. Bishop, when he came back, was trying to search for also the last X-Men. Allegedly, the X-Men were killed by one of their own. In the story, it was thought to be Gambit. And I recall he believed that Gambit was the one who betrayed all the X-Men, but it really wasn't. There was a shapeshifter guy. Correct me if I'm wrong. They're comic fans and all your nerddom. But we didn't find out till later, I believe, in the miniseries, because we always thought that like Gambit was the one who survived and had betrayed the X-Men and all the X-Men, and that I think it's the same future as that classic Wolverine cover where all the X-Men are on the posters with like they're dead, crossed out. If I'm not mistaken, Days of Future Past takes place in that same thing. If you watch the X-Men cartoon in the 90s, they touched on this in a two-parter, which was very cool, but also a little cheesy. You get when you make something that's very specifically for just kids. Remember Bishop not knowing, not being able to trust his memory and stuff. So when Bishop finally was stuck in the present and was able and invited to join the X-Men on the condition that he learned how to work on his temper, he and Wolverine had a lot in common in that way, in the sense that they both had these just hardcore badass. Like he would just, take somebody out as arrest them. He's from a future where you just really didn't have to mess around with people. He was honored and he was fiercely loyal. Fiercely loyal. Back to point. The M, the way that I draw the M is the way that they drew the M in my favorite series. So it's got almost a Y, a bold Roman numeral kind of looking Y, and then comes down here like so. That sounds like my phone. And I'm still not getting it because I'm almost done with this. I will call y'all back. Okay. So, and then the thin lines here, and you have to make them follow the contour. Now there's a line at the bottom and this point at the top. The middle of the M has got to cut right to his eyeball, though. I love that. That's what makes him so badass. So that's his look, and I always liked that very much. So much so that when I did my book, Luna, the Devil's Mistress, I actually used the idea of, let's see if I have a picture of Luna up here. You may or may not. Yeah, here we go. I got a picture of Luna right now. Let me switch to that. Notice Luna has the moon over one eye. Luna, standing for lunar and controlled by the shapes of the moon, has a crescent moon over one eye. It's a different eye. I flipped it on the other side, and I have a tattoo of that same thing. It's an eyeball with the moon. But it's one of the influences on me that I thought, like, that's so cool. Like Cable has his mark scars over one eye. Nick Fury has a patch over one eye. I think that asymmetrical look just adds a little air of badassery to the character. Luna having been the first thing I ever solely created. It meant a lot to me. That's why I got the tattoo. And I'm bringing that character back in the next issue of Hatched, which is, I know, I'm sorry, guys, I've been waiting, but it's almost done. A lot of things have come up in my life lately and gotten kind of in the way of me getting to do all the art that I want to do. but it's still in progress. Nothing's canceled. Nothing's even on hold. It's just taking a little longer than I expected. So, personal life getting in the way a little bit. Had to take a Christmas job, which was cool for a little extra cash, but it definitely cut into my comic making time. So everything's a little bit behind, but it's still coming, and I'm getting there, guys. I swear to God, I'm getting there. And if you keep following me, I will keep putting stuff out. So I'm starting to play with details now. 25 minutes. All right. So Bishop has a wicked goatee. I love that. Kind of a V shape here to sort of emulate the V in his hair. I like to give him a widow's peak, and then the angles of the M. So there's just a balance of design elements here. Oh, I'm looking at this like the hair looks a little off to me, but it's probably because I'm drawing at a funky angle. I mean, one day I'll get a camera that doesn't have to be right my way when I'm drawing. So, neckerchief here. Bishop then, now, he's got along one side, I'm going to put it right here, from his shoulder, actually more like his clavicle, down. My man's got a stripe. And it's got a kind of contour to go along with his what are going to be his pectoral muscles. If we were drawing this bigger, there'd be chest muscles here. But I'm not. I'm just going with where his pecs, where his clavicle, shoulder will be like here, shoulder there, shoulder way off screen. So Bishop's got his costume is blue, nice bright target-y shade of blue, and then he's got a yellow stripe. Neckerchief is red, yellow stripe, and then a thin yellow pinstripe right to the our right, his left, our right of it. They go all the way down. You won't see it, but they'll go all the way down to his waist where there's an X. Got the round X-Men logo. Looks a little like yo. Oh, that's really bad. Wow. I should have done that differently. But you know, the X-Men logo is a circle with an X through it. And then that's like the one character design element that all the characters have. Otherwise, at least the modern ones. I know in the original classic, they all had matching costumes, but sooner or later they got smart and did away with that idea because, like, the Beast wearing the same costume as Rogue doesn't quite work and doesn't accentuate the Beast's. I almost said bestiality. It doesn't accentuate the Beast's monstrosity or you know his raw animalisticness. So you got to give him a little bit of something different, especially when he turns blue and furry. And I think not every character looks cool in just your basic tights with the X across the top, the front. So that's all right, guys. That's really it. I came in at 28 minutes here. I'm gonna wrap it up and come in at 30. I'm gonna have this piece for sale at the convention. I've got a lot of original art and art prints coming. So to show you that I'm done with it, this is always the last thing. You know me. When the picture's done, I sign it. The last thing you do is sign it. Once you sign it, you got to be done. It's the law. 2022. Got my little squiggly heart here. If you know me, you know what that's about. If you don't, well, just part of my signature. So let me switch this off and say goodbye. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. I appreciate that. I had a good time drawing Bishop. I hope you learned a little something about it. If you have additional information about X-Men or Bishop, let me know because you know I don't purport to be an expert, but I'm really excited about the convention coming up this weekend. Again, look for Paul King and Fret's Toy Depot, the Midland Mall Comic Con. It's Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 6 on Saturday, noon to 5 on Sunday, shorter mall hours on Sundays usually. There's going to be vendors of jewelry and cosplay, and there's Nerf gun wars, and there's stuff I can't even name it all. We're taking over the whole mall. As much as I'd love everybody to come just see me and buy my stuff and get selfies with me, that'd be fun. But check out everything that they're doing because Paul has put this together to be a real extravaganza. Uh, it's something for everybody. There's stuff for grown-ups to do. There's stuff for kids to do. There's interactive fun elements. It's the kind of thing, and it's free. By the way, it's free. You can come, you can spend money at the vendors, or you can just come hang out at the mall. And we're doing fun stuff all day. It's absolutely the best possible way to spend a weekend. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you're looking forward to it too. I just passed 30 minutes, so let me do my sign off. Guys, if there's one thing I know, one thing I believe in at all, it is that we as human beings are here to take care of each other. Um, Ted Davies and Brian Morris uh, with Rising Tide Productions tell me all the time, like a rising tide raises all ships, and if we're all ships, then we need to raise each other up. Um, I believe it. With all I have, I believe that we are here for each other, and I'm here for you. And I have had people lift me up when I needed it most, and sometimes they don't even know it. So give a person a smile, give a person a hello, help them out when they feel bad because you might need it when you feel bad. It is really important to me that in whatever way you can, we spread some love now more than ever, honestly. So thank you for your time. I appreciate you. Check out Ken's Comics, check out Ted Davies Artistry, check out Fet's Toy Depot, and check out the Midland Mall Comic Con.